Hello, everyone. Welcome back inside Centura Health Training Center for another episode of Broncos Now. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Coming up on today's episode, the Broncos are set to face the Cleveland Browns at Empower Field at Mile High this Sunday, and we'll hear from head coach Sean Payton and all three coordinators as they look ahead to that game. All that and more coming up. The Broncos were inside the indoor practice field today as they continue to prepare to face the Browns this Sunday. And we heard from head coach Sean Payton as he detailed Cleveland's defense and what they did at practice this week to prepare.
You can take any statistic, third down numbers, they're at the top of the league. Passing efficiency, they're at the top of the league. And so you have this unique imbalance right now of snaps that they're getting on offense, snaps they're defending on defense. We did the red zone report today. So in order to have a red zone opportunity, you cross the 20. They're fewest in the league in defending red zone opportunities. So one of the keys we felt like at the start of the week was, our first and second down efficiency versus this defense and trying to minimize the minus plays.
Offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi added to that, discussing how critical first and second down efficiency will be.
When you look at this defense, the third and shorts, there's not a lot of clips compared to most teams. 3rd and 2 to 3, 3rd and 4 to 6, and then you get to that 3rd and 7+, and there's way more than you're used to watching. And that's kind of how they've been successful. They're good on early downs. They get you in that 3rd and 7+, and then they've got a pass rush that's fierce. So staying out of those 3rd and longer, it's all, we say it all the time, there's certain fundamentals that no matter who you're playing, you want to execute. You want to stay out of 3rd and longer, regardless of who you're playing. But this team's so good in those situations that first and second down efficiency will be, even more key maybe than normal.
He also went on to talk about what to expect from the Browns secondary with cornerback Denzel Ward ruled out of Sunday's game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, something that we're going to have to watch early. Just common sense would tell you that they'll probably play a little more zone. I know that Schwartz has always done a good job of protecting his corners when he doesn't feel like they're, maybe the guys that he wants to have in man-to-man a lot. So, we'll definitely be watching early to see if his tendencies are changing.
Head coach Sean Payton also talked about Browns quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson and what he's seen on tape from him.
Look, I remember him because we watched a lot of him on film, in the draft process. He's come in there. They do a great job with what they do offensively. He's athletic. He's a guy that can stress you, outside the pocket. He's got a strong arm. And, he's done what you want from a backup, come in, and the team has continued to win. So, but certainly there are some things that he does, like the ones before him, even Deshaun, where you've got to be ready when plays extend.
And defensive coordinator Vance Joseph talked about the Browns' run game.
It's a good scheme. They have a great O-line coach, have good backs. It's a really good scheme. It's a outside zone scheme that runs the gap scheme very well, and they're committed to it. It's a team strategy, running the football, playing great defense, and winning football games. So it's working for them.
And last but not least, special teams coordinator Ben Kotwika talked about the special teams performance last week versus the Vikings and how they hope to continue that this Sunday.
Yeah, to go 5 for 5, hit a 52-yard field goal. That operation, was smooth, and we've seen that this week. So don't expect anything less from those guys. And when the numbers called them, confidence that they're going to knock it through the upright. And
now it's time to take a look at this week's final injury report. Running back Dwayne Washington was listed as questionable as he did not participate in practice on Friday. And safety P.J. Locke is also listed as questionable, though he was a full participant. Now joining me here inside the Broncos podcast studio for a game preview is Broncos lead writer Eric Delala. Eric, thanks for joining me today.
You got it, Sid. Happy belated Thanksgiving.
Happy belated. How was your Thanksgiving yesterday?
It was nice.
Good.
It was nice. How about you?
Mine too.
Good.
Well, Eric, we just finished taking a look at the final injury report. I know there was a lot of talk this week just about who is going to replace Kareem Jackson. We saw P.J. Locke. He was a full participant today, but is listed as questionable. Just what would it mean, do you think, to get him back if he is able to play on Sunday?
Yeah, I think good sign, first of all, right, that he was a full participant on Friday. He was limited on Thursday, not able to practice on Wednesday, had not practiced since suffering that injury against Buffalo on Monday Night Football. When we talked to him yesterday, he said that it felt good during practice and just kind of needed to take it day by day, see how it responded, needed to be able to run around and move and do all the sorts of things to feel comfortable during a game.
Yeah.
So again, good sign that he's a full participant. Sean Payton said just kind of a day by day situation. If he is able to play, I do think it's a really big deal for this Broncos defense. PJ has only started 2 games this year. Obviously the one, and then he makes the big play against Green Bay earlier in the season. He's playing good football. I think his range is impressive back there. Against Buffalo, I think we saw, what he was able to do and what this defense was able to do with him out there. And then when he went out, Buffalo started to find some success. I think maybe some of what obviously had Kareem Jackson there against Minnesota, but him coming back without Kareem would be a big deal. I think you're facing a rookie quarterback. We know the Broncos are going to focus on stopping the run first and foremost, but you've got to know that you're kind of shored up there on the back end of the defense, that you're not going to give up a game-changing play. And I think when you have P.J. Locke back there next to Justin Simmons, you feel pretty good about your coverage, the communication, all that. And that's not to say that a Delarian Turner-Yell or J.L. Skinner, or whoever else couldn't step in and have success, but we've seen P.J. do it. He said, I asked him on Thursday, why are you having more success this year?
Yeah.
And he said, just an increased understanding of the game and increased IQ from a football knowledge standpoint, that's helped him have success. And I think you see that in terms of how comfortable he is playing out there, able to play fast, able to make plays, again, has that range. So it would be a big deal if P.J. Locke can play.
Yeah, definitely. Eric, sticking with injuries, I know the Browns, they're going to be without few key players. I know the one guy that really stuck out to me was cornerback Denzel Ward. Offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi, he talked earlier in the show just about how that would change their secondary. I mean, that's going to be big. Yeah,
we'll have to see exactly kind of how the Browns respond. As Joe Lombardi said, they play a lot of man coverage, a lot of single high safety coverage. And, will they stick with that? Will that continue to be their identity and just kind of slot the next guy in where Denzel Ward played? Maybe they switch to more zone defense, as Joe Lombardi mentioned. Like that's something to watch there. And, Denzel Ward's a really good player. And obviously, we know he was taken right before Bradley Chubb back in the 2018 draft. Good player, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. So they'll be challenged to replace him. It's still a really good defense and a good secondary. And so it'll still be a challenge. Juan Thornhill listed as questionable. We'll see if he's able to go. But yeah, definitely something that could impact this game. And even if it's just, is it worth a field goal here or there? Is it, can the Broncos find success on one deep passing play that puts them in position to get a touchdown? I mean, I think the margins in this game will be pretty slim. And it's a really good defense. So you got to take what you can get. And so, yeah, maybe there's an opportunity there for the Broncos, but we know Jim Schwartz, really good defensive coordinator, and I'm sure he'll find a way to adjust without Denzel Ward. Yeah, Eric, you mentioned it. I mean, great defense. I mean, one of the best in the league right now. I know they're top in a lot of categories. So just overall, that whole unit, I mean, what specific challenges do you think they'll really present? Yeah, I think, they're really good at the line of scrimmage in terms of the physicality. They know how to bring pressure and get Myles Garrett in these one-on-one situations where he can attack you and create problems. They're good on the back end. They're fast. Teams that try to play side to side or horizontal or misdirection. I mean, the Browns are just fast, and so they're going to catch up to you a lot of the time. There are some things that they do that stand out in terms of 3 and outs. They force them at a higher percentage than any team since that stat was tracked beginning in 2000. Crazy. They've allowed the fewest passing yards in the last 40 years. Third down defense, they're really good. Red zone opportunities, they only allow about 2 a game to each team, which is the fewest in the league. They only allow about 18 yards per drive, which again is, best in decades. They, I mean, I can go on and on and on there in terms of what they do, but they just make life really challenging. And I think the key, maybe you're able to find some success running the football. The Broncos were able to do that, the Steelers were able to do that a week ago against the Browns and kept things close there. You have to avoid turning the ball over, and, you can't allow Myles Garrett to get a strip sack. He's tied for the league lead and is really good at that. Can you prevent a regular sack from being a strip sack? Can you make sure that you don't throw an interception or have a costly fumble? I think those things will be critical. And then, I think part of it too is up to the Broncos, defense being able to get off the field at times and give the Broncos more opportunities. Teams average a lot of possessions against the Browns. They're not able to sustain them, but you hope that, first, second down, you're able to find some success, stay on the field, because part of the reason the Browns are so good and why they find success is they average 18 more plays than their opponent, and in time of possession, they dominate it. And so I think you've got to find a way to bring that closer. You've got to win the field position battle. Again, find a way to play clean football and not hurt yourself with penalties or turnovers. And then just make some plays. And it's a long list because it's a good defense. But, I do think, as Mike McGlinchey said earlier this week, they're a really good group, but we have confidence in our group too. And we feel up to the challenge.
Eric, looking at the Broncos offense, how do you hope to see them get the run game going again? And how critical do you think that will be to this offense's success?
Yeah. Again, I think the run game will be important just to keep this team in second and manageable, third and manageable. Last week I think was maybe a bit of an anomaly in terms of the run game not having a lot of success. If you look back kind of the 5-6 weeks before that, this team was running the football really well and sticking with it, having consistency. I do think, again, they might be able to find some of that success against the Browns, and it'll be important just in terms of, again, the time of possession, staying on the field, maintaining drives, maybe wearing this defense down a little bit. And then, I'll have to see kind of in the red zone, are they able to get the run game going a little bit down there? They haven't run it particularly well down in the red zone. But, they're going to have to run the ball well. They're going to have to throw it well in spots. This is just a game where it feels like a kind of a grinded out sort of game. I think Pat Surtain earlier this week said, we know this is going to be a battle on both sides of the ball. It feels like a physical, the Browns obviously play these games a lot in the AFC North where it's kind of defensive oriented, run the ball. The Broncos are built in a lot of ways like an AFC North team this year, and I think it could feel like one of those AFC North battles.
Eric, we heard earlier in the show from head coach Sean Payton and defensive coordinator Vance Joseph. They talked about how strong the Browns' run game is. So what do you really just hope to see on the other side of the ball for the Broncos, their run defense specifically? Yeah,
I think they've got to be good on early downs, and it's not revolutionary or anything like that, but I think you've got to put Dorian Thompson-Robinson in second and long, third and long. Last week in the first half against Pittsburgh, the Browns ran the ball well on early downs. Steelers didn't really challenge Cleveland's receivers all that much, and DTR was able to fire off these kind of easy 5, 6, 7 yard completions. Nothing down the field, nothing in huge chunks, and certainly there's a benefit in making a team dink and dunk its way down the field to try to beat you and hope that a rookie quarterback makes a mistake there. But in that first half, they were really efficient, weren't in second and third and long. And as a defense, obviously, we know that's difficult to stop.
Yeah.
In the second half, the Steelers were a lot more attacking. It felt like, set up second and long, set up third and long, made DTR throw the football down the field a little bit. He still got rid of the ball quickly, but kind of contesting those catches on second or third and long, put him in 1 3rd and 15 where he threw a pick. I think that's got to be the key is you've got to make 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, or 2nd and 9. You can't, and we saw this happen against Minnesota a bunch, you can't let them run for 5 or 6 yards on first down and kind of keep themselves ahead of the sticks. You've got to put them behind the chains, maybe a tackle for loss here or there, force an incompletion on first down, and then make Dorian Thompson-Robinson beat you. And if he can do that as a rookie, okay, credit to him. But I think based on what I've seen is a lot of his throws are kind of swing passes. They're short near the line of scrimmage. He's not taking a ton of shots down the football field. Can you put him in a situation where he's got to execute on third and long? I think in this game you've got to sell out to stop the run and try to put him in some difficult downs and distances.
Yeah. Eric, this feels like a big one in terms of the playoff picture and looking ahead, really.
Yeah, it is. I think kind of the exciting thing is as you win football games, they all start to feel a little bit bigger.
They're all meaningful.
They all start to get important. And that's the exciting thing about where this team is at 5-5. The difference between being 5 and 6 and picking up a loss to an AFC opponent versus being 6 and 5 and getting another kind of win that will help you in the tiebreakers later on.
Right.
That is a big deal. listen, it's a good football team. They're 7-3 for a reason. It's the best defense in the NFL, but they're led by a rookie quarterback, and so you hope that at home with the crowd going, with as much success as this Denver defense has had recently, you hope you're able to keep that momentum going. But certainly no doubt about it, Sid, in terms of playoff odds, in terms of tiebreakers and all that sorts of things, this is a big one, and you've got to win your AFC matchups down the stretch, especially against teams that are going to be in that playoff mix and be, you don't want to come to the end of the year and have the same record as the Browns and let them have the tiebreak over you. So these head-to-head games against Cleveland, against Houston, don't want to look any further than that. But they're big for playoff seeding, for playoff positioning. So hopefully the Broncos can get a win.
Yep, Eric, I hope so too. Should be a fun one on Sunday. Appreciate you joining the show today.
You got it, Sid.
Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Broncos Now. Broncos Country, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope to see you all at Empower Field at Mile High for the game this Sunday. But if not, I'll meet you right back here on the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube on Monday. See you all then.